Welcome back to another episode of the BODcast with Alli and Chris. I'm Alli.
And I'm Chris.
And today we have a very special guest, former New York City police officer, Vic Ferrari. Ferrari, like the car. I was going to say Fieri, like the chef, but no, not that guy. And we're really excited because he's written a number of books, 5 in total so far, few bestsellers from what I understand. And a lot of it has to do with crime and his time on the force. But what got us interested in having him on the podcast today was his take on his stories about fitness and being a police officer in a major metropolitan area and how fitness is sometimes lacking. And it sounds like he's got some pretty awesome stories. So we're just going to dive in and have a good time. Welcome, Vic. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Alli. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah. So talk to us. You started to give us a little bit on the phone with some stories that were really, really juicy. Let's start with the one story that you told us about and just elaborate on a little bit more about this car and these two ladies, these two police officers who may have not been as fit. So just tell us the story.
Okay, so the New York City Police Department is the largest police department in the world. And at any given time, there's between 35,000 and 40,000 members.
Wow.
So they run, well, when I came on the job in 87, you would get run through a 6-month academy. I believe now it's 8. I was a gangly 21-year-old kid when I went in. It's not like I had Navy SEAL training, but I was in good shape. And I didn't find the academy particularly challenging. I mean, it was a lot of push-ups, a lot of sit-ups, running laps. By the time I went in there, they had already taken boxing off the curriculum, which I kind of found odd because if you're going to be fighting with people from time to time, you should know how to defend yourself. The thing with the NYPD is once you get through the academy and you pass those tests, there's really no checks and balances what happens to you. And unfortunately, some of its members balloon into very overweight people. So what you were asking me was about these 2 female cops in my precinct. So in the early 90s, there were the 2 female cops, and we used to call them Cagney and Lacey, and they were basically useless. And both women were rather tall, 5'8", 5'9", and both of them weighed 240, 250 pounds. Ooh. Well, the thing is, they used to do the day shift, which is traditionally slower. And with the old Chevy Caprices, you have those bench seats that slide across. Well, their combined weight after a couple of weeks would break the bench seats. So I would come in on the 4 to 12. My partner and I would get the car back from them. We'd look in the back seat. It looked like a who's who of where they ate for the day. There was McDonald's bags. There were Dunkin' Donut bags. I mean, it was like a smorgasbord of crap back there because they never cleaned the car out. They were just grazing throughout the day and throwing shit in the back seat of the police car.
Oh my God.
After 20 minutes of cleaning out the back of the radio car, you get into the car, you put it in drive, and if you had a heavy call, you'd step on the brake. And what would happen? Because they broke the bench seats, you'd go sailing into the back seat.
Oh no.
So what I had to do is we were lucky enough, we had a dairy that was in my precinct. So we went over there and I asked the manager, I says, can I get a couple of milk crates? He goes, yeah, sure. So what I would do is I would prop the milk crates in the back seat. This way, my partner and I, when we stepped on the gas, we didn't go flying into the back seat as a brace. But then that got tricky because then when you got an arrest, what would happen? The milk crates we'd either have to pull the car, or we'd have to take the milk crates and throw them in the trunk and just drive like 5 miles and like driving Miss Daisy to the station house because we didn't want to sit in the back seat with the handcuffed prisoner.
It's like having wheelie bars on a drag car.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Like having wheelie bars on a drag car to keep the
exactly. Yeah. You need a cage in there. So they were useless. They had a bad reputation for really just skirting their duties, and kind of came to a head because I was chasing a burglary suspect, and I had it over the radio. I was chasing a teenager I saw come out of a window of an apartment building, and I'm putting over his description. And as I'm running down this major thoroughfare, the both of them are out of their car and they're writing a parking ticket. And I see one like pick up her head because she can hear it over the radio. I hear her adjusting her radio, so she knows it's coming her way. And here I come and I'm screaming, stop him, stop him. Now, yeah, I get it that they're limited, but they could have at least put their foot out or gotten his way to slow him down. They just stood there as I went sailing past him. So eventually I caught him, threw him in cuffs. And when I got into the station house, they came in later and I just started letting him have it at the desk. I just started like, you two pieces of shit. Are you kidding me? So what wound up happening was the platoon lieutenant basically said, all right, I can't have this. So he split them up and put them on foot posts at either end of the precinct, hoping that the walking around would help them. I mean, it's a tricky thing, I mean, how do you tell somebody you can't, it's civil service, you can't demand somebody to lose weight. So they basically broke them up and put them on either ends of the precinct. And then I got transferred later on. I went on to bigger and better things. But yeah, that's a story from my new book, NYPD Law and Disorder.
So I'm wondering why they wouldn't just keep some standards. If they made you go through the academy, being able to perform these tasks, why wouldn't they just keep them that way? Any idea?
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. So New York City's got 5 boroughs. And in those 5 boroughs, you have 77 police precincts. All right. Scattered over 5 boroughs. That's not including detectives and specialized units and everything else. That's just the grunts, the rank and file cops that you see on television, blue uniforms, white cars.
Okay.
Each precinct has between 100 on a smaller precinct to 400 or 500 cops, like in Midtown or something. So it would be next to it. I mean, it could be done, but think about the manpower you'd have to put behind it. And we didn't have human resources. I mean, it's funny because later on in life, I retired and then I unretired and became a cop down here in Florida for a short period of time. And then they had human resources. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, we didn't have that in New York. Could it be done? Yeah, but it would just create another bureaucracy of red tape. It was kind of on the merit system that, there was no merit.
Well, I know the military works in a very similar way, but every year when they go in for their annual review, they have to be able to do a PT test. But typically, they don't stay in shape all year long. They hurry up and get ready, a month or a couple of weeks before the PT test, just so they can make sure that they pass it. And then they let it go for the rest of the year. And I would have to think that would impede their ability to do their job very well. So what else have you seen while on duty?
I've seen plenty. So, I mean, I'll say this about the New York City Police Department, like the health benefits and the sick program was, it's really good, but you always get, again, with a 35, 40,000 person police department, you're going to get scam artists. You're going to get people that aren't going to pull their weight. It's like everything else in life. So I'll tell you a quick story. So in New York, you can go sick 3 times a year. And when you go sick, you're expected to be in your residence. And they have what's called the Health Service Division. And the Health Service Division, they monitor it. Now, if you go sick once or twice a year, no one's going to come knocking on your door. That's just the thing of it. But you get people that go chronic sick 4, 5, 6 times a year. So you get put in these monitoring programs where they can and will stop by your house. And if you don't answer that door, you're going to lose 30 vacation days and you're going to get put on a year of disciplinary probation. So having said that, you would think with such a heavy hit, cops would, play by the rules. I mean, they're supposed to be the one enforcing them, right? So what happens is you get guys and girls that like to play games with it. So there was this one guy, we used to call him Vavoom because he was like Felix the Cat's sidekick. There could be 300 people in a bar and you'd know this fucking guy was in there. Like you'd be in the front and 300 people, you'd know. It's like, I hear Vavoom. I hear him. Bad guy, but like, he was one of those guys that always felt the need to tell you how smart he was and inevitably would shoot him in the foot. So he lived in upstate New York. He lived like 75 miles away from New York City. And he was on the chronic program because he liked his cocktails. And from time to time, he would get banged up and have a hangover and not want to come into work. And he figured, I live up in Orange County, 70 miles from the New York City border. The Health Service Division isn't going to come up here and looking for me. So he bangs in, the 7th or 8th time for the year. Starts feeling better later in the day. He makes his way down to the local tavern by his house. He's sitting there having a cocktail. and a guy walks in with a manila envelope. The guy is in business casual. He's got cop written all over him. And the guy goes up to the bartender and says, "Do you know where Willow Lane is?" And before the bartender can answer, Vavoom, he's got an Irish whisper. He jumps up, "Willow Lane, yeah, it's 2 blocks, make a right, go up the hill. It's a cul-de-sac. Who are you looking for on Willow Lane?" And the lieutenant looks at the paperwork. He goes, You. Yeah, and getting busted in a bar, running his mouth. He gave the guy 70 miles directions to his fucking house. He didn't even have to go to his house. He basically got suspended on the spot. So yeah, stories like that. Yeah, guys that it's just, listen, I love my old department. I think
make this stuff up.
Right?
Greatest minds in the world solving crimes, but you get a lot of jerk offs in there. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Well, all I got from that story was you can't create rules to rule out human nature, because humans are going to human, right?
Yeah. Right. So, and then we also have so that's a sick program, right? But you also have, God forbid somebody gets seriously injured and they can't perform their duties, and it's a line of duty injury, car accident, fighting with a bad guy. You could be eligible for a tax-free disability pension.
Oh,
so the NYPD is not going to make it easy for you, because and I've seen it both ways. I've seen guys that were really fucked up, like in bad car accidents. They got screws in the back, and it's not like it's a rocket docket where 6 months later the guy's on a beach in Florida. They put you in the bowels of the NYPD somewhere, so they'll transfer you out of your unit. They'll put you in a place. You'll just waste away for years, and they keep having these. You keep getting called before the medical board, and they try to put you back to work. But then you got the other side of the coin where you get scam artists that try to get over, they're calling these 800 numbers, Better Call Saul. You know what I mean? The guys on television. Can you do? So we had a guy in the precinct. We used to call him Whiplash Willie. And he wasn't an older guy. He'd only have 5-6 years on, and he was in a fender bender. And the fender bender was 2 years old, and he'd walk around the precinct with a cane and a phone collar. It was just so obvious he was a bullshit artist. And he got his wife into the act. It was a fender bender. His partner was fine. He got his wife into the act. He got his wife to sue his old partner, claiming that the accident made him impotent. That takes balls, no pun intended.
Wow.
Right. So he's limping around, and he's playing the game. And so anyway, our delegate one time, who was also the precinct town crier, can't wait to tell me something. He goes, come here, I gotta tell you something. I go, what? He goes, Whiplash Willie gets a notification to go down to the health service division the other day. I said, yeah. He goes, so I'm the delegate. They asked for me to go too. He goes, which was unusual. He says, so we go down there. He goes, on the ride down there, he goes, all Willie wants to talk about is what he's going to do with his money and where he's going to spend his time. And he's done with the NYPD. He goes, we get down there. He goes, they bring us into a conference room. And, this is old school. It was it's like an AV thing at a high school. The television set with a VCR. And he says, they said, sit down, make yourselves comfortable. And he goes, I know something's up. He goes, Whiplash Willie is like, oh, this is going to be great. He's rubbing his hands. He goes, and I'm like, something's up. Something's not right. They go, the lieutenant puts in a VHS tape, and it's video footage of Whiplash Willie working on his house. He's on his roof. He's unloading bags of cement. They followed him to Home Depot. He goes a good hour over a period of several weekends of him basically playing, Bob Vila, this old house. You know what I mean? This guy's claiming he can't walk or get aroused. And he's Johnny on the spot fixing everything in the house. Right. So they says, listen, take off that fucking foam collar. We're putting you back to work. Oh, and that house that you said is in Orange County, it's in Dutchess County, which is out of the 5 counties that you can live in. So you're either selling that house or you're quitting. So he went back to work for a while, and then there's another story behind him I don't even want to get into, but he didn't last very long.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, doesn't sound like that kind of guy would. Oh my gosh. So did you work with anybody that did anything like that?
I've seen it. No, nobody I work with, like a partner. Did I get thrown in a radio car with somebody like that from time to time? Oh yeah. There's another story in my book. There was a sergeant in our same precinct, and he was a Portuguese guy, very proud of his Portuguese heritage. And he was an Elvis impersonator on the weekends. And he was a big guy. Like he was like 6 something and like 220, just a big weightlifter.
So he was fat Elvis impersonator.
No, he was a good, he was in shape, and he always sunning himself. He had like the complexion of a penny. And he was having all this fun. Like, on the weekends, he's in New Jersey swinging his hips. For these old people at VFW halls and going down to Atlantic City and shit. God forbid, I'll tell you what, God forbid you knock the king of rock and roll. He'd want to knock you out. I saw him almost kick another sergeant's ass because he had the balls to say something like Jerry Lee Lewis was a better performer. What? Elvis is a great, like the guy he would just go from zero to dick in 2 seconds. So he wants to get off the job, right? But the NYPD is getting in the way of his performing career. So he starts doing slip and falls. It's like, oh yeah, so I don't want to say his name, but Sergeant so-and-so, yeah, he's hurt. Then he'd come back to work. He'd work with another guy. He's hurt. Like the second they would put him back to work, he got hurt again. And then, word gets around and nobody wants to work with this fucking guy because nobody wants to be the one that starts signing these witness statement forms.
Right.
So he gets put on restricted duty finally, which means, okay, now you're in review, right? So for a year, they send him off to somewhere else, right? The day of his medical review board, he shows up and he's claiming he's got a bad back, he's a cripple, and he walks in looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And his lawyer's there and they're showing MRIs and shit. You got 4 or 5 doctors on the medical review board. And again, my friend, the town crier, told me the story. He goes, all of a sudden, one of the doctors goes, stop, I can't take it. He goes, are you fucking kidding me? This guy looks like he's like Mr. Atlas competition. And you're telling me he can't ride around in a radio car?
Right.
So Portuguese Elvis basically resigned from the NYPD. And the last I heard, he's a successful Elvis impersonator in northern New Jersey.
He's found his calling.
Portuguese Elvis. I love that.
That's I call him in the book, Portuguese Elvis.
What's the name of the book right now?
NYPD. Well, it's out. It's out on Amazon. NYPD Law and Disorder.
Okay, so that's the newest one. What are the other titles?
The NYPD's Flying Circus, Cops, Crime, and Chaos has a lot of funny stories in it about cops getting themselves into trouble. There was this cop called, he was Irish, but we used to call him, the Spanish cops would call him El Diablo, because if you work with him long enough, you would either go to AA, your marriage would break up, or you would convert to Christianity, because he was wild, like a party. Like a couple of times we went down to Atlantic City with this guy. It's like, it just never stopped. But we used to say, like, this guy's got to have the fucking Prince of Darkness running interference for him, because how does he get involved in all this shit? And he never gets jammed up. He never gets suspended. So the story about El Diablo is, this is the early 90s. He's in a bar drinking up by Central Park. He's talking to a couple of floozies at the bar. And this handsome cab operator comes walking in. And those are the guys that take you for a ride around Central Park for like $400 for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like the horses crapping all over the place and you get pictures of Central Park. Well, the guy comes walking in with a fucking top hat and a felt thing. Everybody knows who he is. And El Diablo sees the guy walking past and he goes, hey, you mind if I take Seabiscuit for a ride? So the handsome cab operator doesn't know who he's dealing with. He goes, yeah, okay, pal. And he goes to the bathroom. So El Diablo tells the 2 girls, come on, ladies, we're going to go for a ride. I know him. Goes out to the client, gets the girls in the carriage, moves the blocks, starts whipping the horse, and the horse starts going away, down by Central Park of 57th or 59th Street. So at first, it's impressive. Like the horse is paying attention, the horse is stopping when it should. Well, the horse realizes that there's an asshole behind the wheel, right? So the horse is like, fuck this, I'm getting some oats. The horse starts blowing lights, right? And starts heading for Central Park to cut through to go to the west side to hit a barn, right? And the girls are in the back like, let us the fuck out of this thing, because now it's apparent it's a runaway horse and carriage.
Right.
He's from the Bronx, so he can't stop this fucking thing. He didn't grow up on a farm. So as they're racing towards Central Park, 2 other handsome cab operators go, hey, there goes Harry's stolen horse and carriage. They get into a chase, right? So they go into Central Park and it's almost like the Trotters. One of the handsome cab operators somebody could have gotten killed because it's like a fucking chariot race. One of the handsome cab operators got in like a stagecoach, got in front of him and started slowing him down. And then another guy got in back, so they boxed in the horse and carriage. I mean, someone could have easily have gotten killed, right? The floozies run off into Central Park, right? The handsome cab operators want to kick his ass. Somebody gets on the phone. The owner shows up. He wants him arrested. And El Diablo goes, I'll take you to an ATM right now. I'll give you $500. And the guy goes, sold. El Diablo goes to an ATM, bangs out $500, give it to the handsome cab operator, pats the horse on the head,
walks away.
no foul.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That wasn't the
Wow.
first time he bought somebody off for his antics either, I could tell.
No.
You don't automatically go to that without having that worked before.
When I started writing these books, I didn't want to get anybody fired, embarrassed, or divorced. So I don't have to go too heavy on one particular character, because if I keep going there, someone's going to go, oh, I know who the fuck he's talking about. You know,
Right.
there's people that know that story. But
Sure.
you know, if I keep going, I'm going to ruin someone's life, because someone's wife, I'm sure if he were married, his wife wouldn't know about that. But if I go somewhere else, you know what I mean? And I got more than enough ammo, you know what I mean, to write these stories. So yeah,
Wow.
I've worked with some colorful characters and been involved in a lot of shit.
I bet.
So when you started with the academy, you went into police work because what was your motive?
Born and raised in the Bronx. I was a little boy. My grandfather broke his ankle in a snowstorm, and 2 cops brought him home. And, you know, at 5 years old, I see them in these blue coats with the gold buttons and, of course, the gun. And I'm like, who are these guys? You know, what do they eat? What are they into, you know? And there was a police station around the corner from the movie theater. So when my mom would take me to, you know, like a Saturday matinee, I would run up to the police cars and look inside, and I'd watch the cops like meandering around in front of the precinct, like the way they rested their hands on their guns. And I knew what I wanted to do by 5 years old. By 10, my brother and I and our friends, we would sneak into the post office and steal the wanted posters off the wall. And then we'd start walking around our neighborhood. You know, we got like a fucking bank robber wanted in Kansas City. We're walking around the Bronx with these wanted posters, like looking at people, like even if we did recognize them, we would have gotten the shit kicked out of us. So, like, I knew what I wanted to do at an early age, you know, like I knew I wanted to be a cop and later on a detective. And, you know, I was very lucky. You know, a lot of people don't accomplish, you know, their dream, or I was very lucky.
So you wanted to be the hero in other people's stories.
I wanted to arrest the bad guy. I like making arrests, and not bullshit either. You know, it's like, I wasn't one of these guys that, you know, I wasn't a summons guy. I could go into that too. I mean, every precinct's got a summons guy. Every police department's got a summons guy. They tend to be very antisocial. The other cops don't even like them. Nobody likes a guy that's going around banging working people and giving them tickets. You know, it's a sorry, ma, the law's the law. Those people are type of people that got picked in the schoolyard. They never had a girlfriend or boyfriend, or, you know, they're very antisocial, and their power is in the pen. So if they feel good about them. So I felt good about, you know, locking up a guy with 4 kilos. This guy feels good about banging somebody going through a red light on his way to work.
Right.
You know? So that wasn't me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like those types, and every police, you know, department has them. We had a lot because of the amount of cops.
So you went into it with the intention that, you know, I mean, we're almost the same age. There's 10 years between us, but, you know, I grew up and that's what I thought police officers were. But is it okay if I ask you, like, how do you feel now? The way police are being I was started to say portrayed, and then it started to come out betrayed. And now I'm feeling like both are accurate, because it feels a little bit like that right now. There's a lot of negative press around police officers. And I wondered how you feel about that. I mean, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want. Okay.
It's funny. The world's changed. It just has. And unfortunately, the police are a pawn right now. Well, law enforcement's a pawn in this game. You know what I mean? It's, you know, I love when they turn around and they go, oh, you know, like, you know, interacting with the public. It's the same people that call the police every 15 minutes to mediate their problems that hate them. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, my parents never called the cops for anything. Not that, you know, my house was, you know, the roller derby, But I mean, we minded our own business. We went about it's the same people that call the cops all the time. And there's this thing now to demonize the police, and it's nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, are the police responsible for the ills of today's society? You can say that, but are the police responsible for stacking impoverished Americans on top of each other like plywood? No, we don't do that. Are the police responsible for the failure of the education system? No. Police get the mess afterwards when you got a bunch of people that don't know how to behave and people that act outside the rules of society, and then you expect the police to govern it, and then all of a sudden they're the bad guy. I don't see it that way. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. It's changed a lot. I'm glad I'm out. It was changing a little. I got out 15 years ago.
Okay.
So I mean, the world has changed, and not for the better.
So what are you doing now? So that you're retired?
I write these books and I go on these podcasts with people like yourself are nice enough to give me a platform to sell my books. Thinking about starting up my own podcast. I'm just into writing, I go to the gym because this is a fitness show. I go to the gym a couple of days a week. Oh, you know what I'm doing now? Have you ever heard of cryotherapy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do that like 4 or 5 times a week. Oh my God. It's like going back to the future.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet. What do you like about it? It just sounds too cold to me.
Oh, definitely. So the place I go to, it has like a commercial meat freezer with a glass door. So it looks like a convenience store refrigeration system that they took all the racks out. And for a guy, you strip down to your underwear. They give you little booties. They give you gloves, ear protection, and you get headphones to listen to music. And I've been doing it for so long. I go for the coldest one. So for me, I do 3.5 minutes at 160 degrees below zero. And oh man. Well, I don't suggest you do that at first. I mean, you start at the 110, 120 mark for 2.5 minutes. But I mean, when you work out, you get inflammation. I mean, I get tennis elbow. I still play softball. My knees still hurt. So it's when you get an injury, what's the first thing they do? They put ice on it. So it's just, you're getting like this Arctic blast for 3.5 minutes.
Wow. Okay. And you're enjoying it. Have you ever done floating?
I've heard about that. I don't know if I can relax enough to do that.
I've heard about it too. A friend of mine's a chiropractor, and he was talking about floating. And I thought it sounds like a sensory deprivation type of situation. And he said after about like your mind just kind of like searches and searches and searches, and you're in there for an hour, but it takes a while to get your mind to calm down. And then it's like you don't want to leave it. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. How am I going to carve an hour out of my life to do that?
Right.
It's not even the hour. I don't know if I could relax that long. I mean, if you haven't figured it out, I'm kind of jumpy and I'm always doing something. So for me, just to sit still for an hour, I don't know if I can do it like yoga. Like at the end of I've taken yoga before. I don't do it all the time, but every now and then. And at the very end, a lot of the yoga instructors make you lay down and just with your eyes closed. And I'm always afraid someone's going to walk over and kick me in the head. So I'm the guy laying there like, one eye
open. Okay, I can honestly say I've never thought that was going to happen to me in yoga, but that's pretty funny. Well, yeah, no, I'm sure it's ingrained in your whole nervous system at this point. Do you sleep with one eye open too?
Much differently than other people. Yeah, I'm the guy with one eye open.
Sleeping that way. With a gun under your pillow?
What's that?
With a gun under your pillow?
No. Or as we say in the NYPD, you'll get a kick out of this expression. So we call it when someone's giving you the hairy eyebrow. That's like when someone, like if you're doing surveillance and someone gives you that, like they look you up and down. It's like, oh, I just got made. It's the hairy eyebrow. Don't fucking looking at me with that hairy eyebrow, pal.
Oh my gosh. So what was your favorite part about being a police officer on the New York City force? I mean, that's a really big deal.
I worked on so many interesting cases and saw so many interesting things. It's a 20-year career with the NYPD is like, it's what you make of it. And I jumped right in with both feet. It's like having a seat on the greatest show on earth. I mean, it's just no 2 days are ever the same. You think you're going to go out after work and have a couple of cocktails and you're standing in a homicide scene, or you really want this really great arrest. and it goes to shit. I mean, I could tell you so many stories. I don't know what you're looking for, but I got so many stories. I can hit you with whatever you want. You want to hear something funny? You want to hear something dangerous?
Yes.
Dangerous.
All right,
Both.
dangerous.
Right. Funny and dangerous.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you the Hansel and Gretel story. So early 90s, we used to go to bars and hang out with our friends and stuff after work, and all these cops from different precincts would go to these bars. And there were these two cops. Actually, I worked with this guy later on. There were these two cops that used to go to the bar, and one of them was an amateur magician in his spare time. So we're at the bar talking to girls and stuff, and this guy would walk in, and the next thing you know, he's pulling flowers out of his wrist. He's pulling gold coins over the ears. And I turn to his partner and I go, get him the fuck out of here. He's cock blocking everybody with magic. Like, how do you compete with this? Right. So he goes, I wish he took his NYPD career as seriously as he did his magic act. So anyway, fast forward a couple of months later, they get called to a basement apartment in the South Bronx. They go downstairs. All that comes over is 911 calls for help. There's 2 apartments down there. They go to door number 1. They bang on the door. No one answers. My old partner goes to bang on door number 2, and the magician stops him. He goes, come on. We made so much noise down here. If anybody called the police, someone would have come out. My old partner goes to bang again. He goes, come on, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. So the magician talks my old partner out of banging on that door, and they leave. Well, what they didn't realize is behind door number 2, the super of the building was selling coke out of the apartment. And he got addicted to it. And he fell behind on his payments. And in the drug world, they don't cancel your cable or send friendly reminders that you're late. They sent a couple of hitters to take care of him. So they used an old gypsy trick. They got an attractive female. They put her in front of the door, puts the girl in front of the door, knocks on the door. The super sees the good looking girl, opens the door. They bum rush him. They start pistol whipping him. Where's the money? Where's the coke? He doesn't have the answers. They shoot him in the head. They roll him up in the carpet. They drag him out of the apartment. They throw him in the furnace. And while he's going up like a Puerto Rican fire log, the girl and the 2 guys go back into the apartment and they're ransacking it for drugs and coke. So while they're in there, my old partner and the magician show up and they're outside. And my old partner's just about to knock on that door, and 2 hitmen turn to the girl and they say, listen, if these 2 fucking cops knock on the door, this is what we're going to do. I think they were Yugoslavian. He goes, open the door and just start yelling in Yugoslavian and point to the kitchen. Lead them down the hallway. When you get past these doors, just jump to the floor. We'll come out. We'll shoot them in the head. We'll throw them in the furnace with the other guy, and we'll get the fuck out of here. Well, they never knocked on the door. So what wound up happening is they left. So a week or 2 later, the super's family, I mean,
It froze.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a.
You're freezing up.
So the super's family gets involved. They call 911. They do a run, and they see that there was a 911 call that was called down there. So they bring in my old partner and the magician. They go, you got called to this apartment. What happened? They go, well, we knocked on this door, but we didn't knock on that door. And they go, was there anything suspicious? And my old partner goes, no. He goes, but when we were leaving, there was a car parked on the fire hydrant. I gave it a ticket. That was the getaway car. So the ticket came back to the girl's car. That's how actually they caught the son of Sam on a parking ticket. They bring the girl in. She folds because she's in on it. She gives up the 2 hitmen trying to minus her involvement. They go back to the building in February. They got to shut the heat off, let the furnace cool down so they can pull the super's bones and skull and teeth out of there. So that story is called Last Night a Magician Saved My Life. And what is that in? I think that's in NYPD Through the Looking Glass, stories from inside America's largest police department. So all my books have crazy stories like this to just,
Okay, so was that the funny one or the dangerous one?
That was a dangerous one. You want to hear funny, huh? Let's
Ooh.
Let's go back and forth.
Well, you are a character, so we're enjoying this a lot.
I've been told you're not the first person that told me that.
I am sure I am not.
Yeah, no, I get that all the time. Okay, so I'll tell you a funny one. So in NYPD Law and Disorder opens up, I've got a chapter called Embarrassing Moments. This is embarrassing, but it is funny. So you might want to put that drink down.
Okay.
So the early 90s, you know, I'm a young cop, and my partner and I pull over this gypsy cab, and in the back seat, there's 3 hombres and 4 kilos of coke. So I bring them into the station house. I'm in uniform, like top of the world. Everyone's taking photos with the coke, and I'm parading around like I won the fucking Stanley Cup with this thing. Everybody's high-fiving me. The lieutenants put that shit in a box. They packaged it and ran it down to the lab. Like nobody wants large seizures of coke laying around, right? So
Right.
I'm on top of the world. So even though the prisoners are gone, the coke is gone, I still got to go down to the Bronx District Attorney's office to speak to a district attorney that night to file charges. It's called an accusatory instrument. So I basically got to go over the case with her. So I go down to court. It's about 8 o'clock at night, and I'm hungry. So across the street from the courthouse, they just opened up a food court, like a little shopping mall with a food court. I'm like, great, because there's nothing to eat around there. It's a shitty neighborhood. So I go in there. They have an Italian restaurant. I get veal parm, spaghetti, a soda. I'm sitting there, and I'm in uniform, and I'm top of the world. I'm reflecting on this arrest, and, you know, I'm feeling good about myself. All of a sudden, my stomach goes. I'm like, oh, I gotta go. Well, I can't use the bathroom across the street in the courthouse because it's just disgusting. So I'm like, oh, great. The food court's got a brand new bathroom. I'll go in there, right? I go into the food court bathroom. There's no one in there. The bathroom is brand new. I'm like, perfect. I go into the stall. I take off my gun belt. I hang the gun belt on a hook. I loosen my pants. I drop them to the ground. I sit down, and I'm getting ready for liftoff. The next thing you know, I hear fucking the front door of that bathroom kick open, and I hear a bunch of screaming teenagers, and they're hitting the fucking hand dryers. They're fighting. They're throwing each other off the walls. The sinks are going on. I'm like, this is all I fucking need. I'm in uniform, but yeah, my pants are down to my ankles. I'm a little vulnerable, right? All of a sudden, the fucking horseplay stops. It gets really quiet. I'm like, did they leave, or did they see my uniform pants? Because it's across the street from the courthouse. They know there's cops around. Maybe they knocked that shit off, right? I'm like, I better finish up, right? Something told me to look up. I'm in the stall, and as I look up, there's a teenager. He went into the next stall. He climbed up on the toilet, and he's reaching over the stall. This is the Bronx we're talking about. He's reaching over the stall to grab my gun belt.
Whoa.
So I jump up with one hand, my left, trying to pull up my pants. With the right, I got him. I got him around by his shirt, and I pull him. And when I pull him, I inadvertently move him closer to my gun belt. He's got my gun belt. So now I drop my pants, and I'm punching the shit out of him, right? Like I got him, and I'm just boom, boom, boom. I'm just like a hockey fight. Right?
Pants are not important
Like, he's got a fucking gun belt, right? I'm wailing on him. While I'm fighting with him, his friends run into the next stall, and they grab his legs. So he lets go of the gun belt. It hits the floor like a fumble, right? They got his legs. So now I'm pulling him over. You've ever been in a bathroom stall? That's aluminum wall. That's not like the Great Wall of China. I mean, it bucks.
Yeah.
Right? I'm pulling this sweaty fuck over the wall. We're going back and forth. Fine, I can't hold on to him no more. I let go, and the fucking wall collapses, and they go crashing into the next wall, like 3 or 4 of them, right? I'm cursing my head off, right? Hands up, put my belt, get my gun belt, put that on. I go running out of the bathroom. I run into the food court. There's fucking nobody there, but like a 300-pound porter with like a floor buffing machine listening to a Walkman. I go, hey. I go, did you see any kids? He takes off the Walkman earphones, looks up to the air and burps and tells me no. I'm like, great. So like at that point, what was I supposed to do? Call the cops on myself?
Right.
I'm in uniform. The responding cop, I would have been the laughing stock of the Bronx. Like that shit would have circled around the Bronx, and Bronx is a very small place. So I said, you know what? Sometimes you got to fucking eat it. Sometimes you got to suck it up. And I told the story to myself until I started writing these books. Like nobody knew about that. My friend's like, is that real? I go, yeah, it's fucking, yeah.
Can't tell anybody. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Wow. I can picture the whole thing. That was beautiful.
Scary.
I bet.
Well, especially when he went for the gun belt.
Dude, he had it. It was
Right.
those old Sam Brown gun belts. I had a 38 at the time.
Oh, damn.
You want more story? I'll give you more story.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
All right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So from Grand Theft Auto, the NYPD's auto crime division, early 90s, my partner and I, the Bronx is a nefarious place. Like you're just driving around like an industrial area. You'll see like an 18-wheeler with guys selling furniture. You know what I mean? Like it's just all sorts of, nothing goes, right?
So the stuff that we see in movies is real
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Really?
You would see
Okay.
guys selling furniture out of the side of an 18-wheeler and they would claim it's Carolina furniture. It's like, there's no fucking way. That's knockoff. But anyway, so one day my old partner and I go to watch the Super Bowl at his sister's house. And she's going on and on and on about this Carolina furniture she bought off the side of Gun Hill Road in the Bronx by these two fine Southern gentlemen. And I'm going, I'm asking all sorts of questions and she's getting pissed off at me because I'm like, did you get a receipt and all this shit? And I'm pulling up, like I'm the mattress police. Like I'm pulling up to see if there's a tag and she's getting pissed off. She's like, just leave it alone. She goes, it's fine. You know, I paid $500 cash for this whole set. It's beautiful. And I'm like, all right, we go to eat, right? After dinner, we're just about to watch the Super Bowl and her husband, who I know this guy a million years, he goes, you guys want anything? We're like, no, we're all right. He goes, you sure? I said, yeah. He plops down in the recliner and he goes, oh, my ass, there's something in my ass. Well, that fine Carolina furniture, a fucking spring or piece of metal shot through the fucking spring and got him in the ass. And he's fucking screaming and we can't stop laughing, right? So like, Paulie, all right? He goes, get me up. So like, no, not fast, right? So we get him up and he's got this fucking hunk of metal shoved into his ass. So we get it out, right? And he wants to watch the Super Bowl. And his wife now, she worked in a veterinary clinic. She always thought she was like Madame Curie, like exposing the latest fucking medical advice, which was often wrong. And she's like, you got to get a tetanus shot. He goes, I'll get it later. So she's just harping on him. You got to get a tetanus shot. You got to get a tetanus shot. So he goes, fine. So he goes and he changes his slacks, right? We're about to leave. And he's so mad. He goes, motherfucker. He turns around. He runs back into the living room and he throws his leg through the side of the fucking chair and puts his leg in it. He breaks his toe. So now he's got his fucking leg deep into the side of the recliner because it was shit. It looked good, but it was like fucking particle board. He put his leg through the side of the recliner and he broke his foot or toe. So we pull his leg out. We take him to the hospital. We're watching the Super Bowl in the fucking emergency room of St. Joseph's Hospital in Yonkers while he's getting a tetanus shot and getting his toe taped up, right? So he's pissed. He's so pissed, right? So like, I don't know, a couple of months later, her brother and I were working, we're driving around the Bronx and we see an 18-wheeler and two fucking hillbillies. And one guy looks like Jed Clampett. And, you know, he's like, look like Buddy Ebsen. And like, fine Southern gentleman indeed. So how you guys doing? Oh, yeah, we're fine. We ain't hurting no one. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, these two fucking guys wouldn't have come all the way up from North Carolina and sitting on the side of the road of the Bronx without a little protection. I go, so I we're just, we're chatting them up and everything's fine. I go, where's the gun? And the other guy, his partner, goes, it's under the seat. And I'm like, where is it? So we wound up locking him up for having a shotgun and an unlicensed pistol. So we wound up arresting him, not for selling pirated furniture on the side of the road, but we wound up locking him up for the gun. And then my friend's sister's got the balls to ask, well, am I going to get my money back? I'm like, what are you fucking kidding me? So do you have a receipt? You know, I have to be on.
Right.
Paperwork on this one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I go on. What was your craziest car chase?
Well, I was a detective in the auto crime division for the last 10 years of my career. I was in probably over 100 car chases. And that's a little dirty little secret about the NYPD. They don't want you chasing, especially a stolen car. If it's a violent felony or robbery or someone shot somebody or they're shooting at you, yeah, have at it. They don't want you chasing stolen vehicles because of the liability.
Sure.
They don't want a civilian getting hurt. They don't want the bad guy getting hurt. They don't want you getting hurt. And I understand it, but boys will be boys. So you would get into these car chases, and if no one got hurt, you never heard another thing about it. But if someone got hurt, you're done. you're going to take a heavy hit, and you could get sued, God forbid, if somebody gets hurt. So you want to hear the craziest car chase? So I'm actually working with the guy that almost got thrown in the oven from that story last night. The magician almost saved my life. So there were 3 of us in a car. We're up in the Bronx. This is later in my career. I had like 17, 18 years in. We're driving around. It's August. It looks like it's about to rain. And we're just buzzing through a Home Depot parking lot in an unmarked car. It was like a Ford Taurus. Didn't look like a police car. And I spotted a Dodge Caravan with its windows down. Nobody leaves their windows down in the Bronx, especially in a parking lot, because road pirates will stop by and pull shit out of your car. Right. So I go, Tommy, run that plate. Tommy runs the plate. He goes, it's 16, which means it's stolen. I go, go back around. So we're in plain clothes in this Ford Taurus. Car's gone, but we see it leaving the parking lot. I go, all right, we're going to follow him. So when you're following a stolen car, there's a bunch of different ways to catch them. You can wait until they get stuck in traffic, like at a light, and they're boxed in. So you give them a tap in the back. You don't want to set off the airbag, but just a bump to get them to turn. You jump out, and you just start pulling people out of the car. Or what you do is you kind of herd them in. You'll put over the description, the plate of the car, and hopefully you can get the police to come and block them in. Well, he's sitting at a light just before he gets on the New England Thruway or I-95. So we had to put it over because there was no way to box him in. So we're just going to sit back, and we're sitting in back of him. And I see him go like this. He looks in the mirror. He sees 3 white guys in back of him, hits the gas. He rams like 15 cars getting on I-95. We didn't even chase him. He just fucking took off, right? Never going to catch him. So I was pissed. I go, that motherfucker, right? So my partner's like, let it go, because you lose a lot of these guys, right? And I didn't get a good look at him. I just saw from here up. I said, I'm going to get that fucking guy. And my partner's like, you're out of your fucking mind. Let it go. So we get back to our office. I pull the theft report, and I see that the car was stolen a week before across the street from Home Depot. There's only two types of people that hold on to a stolen car more than a couple of days. Teenagers, because they're cool and they're driving around with it, or drug addicts. Drug addicts will steal a car to cop dope. They'll steal it to commit other crimes. They'll steal it to commit other crimes, cop dope, and shoot up and fall asleep. Becomes their home. A lot of them are homeless, and they're going to hold on to it. And they will drive these fucking things. That's why if you see a car go by and it's got that balloon tire on that's good for 40 miles and it's got 400 on it, usually a drug addict to change a flat tire, the car's stolen. Or you are illegally parked stickers on the side of the window where anybody would want to kill somebody and scrape that shit off. And you see that on the side of the car, stolen car. So what's that?
I said, okay.
Oh, okay. So I pulled the theft report. I see the car was stolen a week earlier. So I told my partner, I go, and then I did summons checks on the car, and it was getting tickets in that neighborhood. I said, he's still around. So next door, we work next door to Vice. So I borrowed one of their cars. It was an 8-cylinder. So if we did get into a chase, I get him this time. We go back to the neighborhood. We weren't in the neighborhood 5 minutes. He comes rolling by. I said, I fucking told you, right? So we're following, but we're laying back. So we're in a different car. We're really giving him some space, right? So he doesn't take off. He pulls into a gas station. The attendant comes over, sticks the nozzle on the side of the Caravan. And if for your listeners out there, if you ever wondered what happened if someone would drive away with that hose in the side of a car, I saw it firsthand. We roll behind him. He looks in the mirror again. He sees my partner and I, puts it in drive, hits the gas. That fucking hose, I mean, it will stretch. And when that thing pulled out, that metal, what do you call it, the nozzle?
Yeah.
Back and hit the pump. If that would have hit somebody, would have taken their head off and went boom. It was like swinging. We start chasing him all over the Bronx. He mounts the sidewalk. And what happens is he gets wedged between a fence, like a person's fence, and a lamppost that's got one of them green boxes that controls the traffic control device. That sheared through the side of the car. Like if there was a passenger, it would have killed him. It just sheared through the side of the car, and it stopped it in 2 seconds. So he jumps out of the car, we pull up, and he starts taking his clothes off. So what they'll do a lot of times is if they're wearing a red shirt, they know we're putting over the description. The hat's coming off, his bracelet's coming off, the shirt's coming off. I'm going after him. I'm following him over the fences. My old partner runs around the side. We meet him in the middle. We tackle him and stuff. And I'm cursing at him, and I go, you son of a bitch, I locked you up before. He goes, you never locked me up before. And I says, you piece of shit. I'll never forget this. I go, you piece of shit. I locked you up in a Buick with your wife and kids in the car. And he turns to my partner and goes, your partner's got a really good memory. So yeah, sometimes you would get repeat customers. It was rare. But like that guy, I was just so pissed off that he got away that easily that I made it a point of, it took a couple of days, but I got him.
Wow. Holy
Some people just
cow.
don't know when to give up, huh?
If you give up, then they win.
No, I mean, they
That
don't know when
guy.
to give up.
Oh yeah. He's, you know what? I should check and see if he's out. He's definitely out by now, but he might be in again.
Probably.
A lot of repeat offenders, I bet you saw.
Yeah, I call them clients. I did.
Oh, that's a
My old dad used to laugh at that. He goes, "You got a client?"
right.
You know what? Like sometimes you would get something that seemed like the little bullshit collar, bullshit arrest, and it becomes this big fucking thing. And it's like, what is this fucking thing morphed into? I had a couple of investigators from DMV. They had this guy that had obtained good New York State driver's licenses under different variations of his name. So they didn't want it. They were up in Albany and they go, "You mind if you could pick this guy off for us?" I said, "Yeah, all right. It's a quick arrest. I'll go down." The guy lived in Little Italy. And he wasn't a mobster per se. He was like a mobster without a mob. He was like an associate. He was like a $1.98 gangster. He was nobody. But he was such a pain in the ass to catch. And, you know, you would think like for a guy that wears a toupee and has a glass eye, I mean, you would think that like he'd be easy. You know what I mean? This fucking guy.
A toupee.
He was like late 50s, early 60s. He lived with his 90-year-old mother that told me to go fuck myself when I knocked on the door, right? Could not find this guy, right? Lived Little Italy on the Chinatown border. It's packed down there, right? So this is going on for months. Like every time we were in the neighborhood, I go, let's just go see if he's around. But never find him. So one Friday, I'll never forget, it was like Friday at 4:00, I see him, and you couldn't miss him with fucking rug going sideways and the eye and everything. And he's walking a pit bull. And I go, fuck. My partner, this guy that I was telling you about, he's like, let's grab him. I go, and what if he lets the pit bull go? He goes, "We'll shoot the pit bull." I said, "Yeah, I know. I get that." I says, "But look at the amount of people down here. The first thing they're going to ask is, were you wearing your raid jacket? Were you wearing color of the day? Did you use your mace?" I go, "We don't have any of this shit." I go, "It'll be a good shooting. I just don't want to go through all this bullshit." And this guy had a history of fighting with the cops. So it's a no-brainer. He's got a pit bull. He's going to let the fucking thing go on us, right? I go, I'll never forget, it was a Friday. I go, "Tell you what, we know he's here. Let's go back. Monday morning, we'll get up at the fucking crack of dawn. He's got to walk that fucking dog." I says, "We'll get up at the crack of dawn." I go, "We'll wear raid jackets. We'll get that fucking snare thing that you use for dogs." I go, "A fucking whatever, catcher's mitt, mace, you know, fucking this way. If God forbid we got to fucking shoot the dog, we're good." My partner, I talk him out of it. He goes, "All right, no problem, Vic." We do an early tour. We drive down to Little Italy, Chinatown area. It's like 6:00 in the morning. There he goes. He's walking 2 fucking pit bulls. I go, "You fucking believe this guy? Like, this guy is just making my life miserable. Like, I only got 1 snare pole, and I don't even know if I could like get that around a dog's head. Like, I don't even fish. I don't know if I could get that around
I don't even
fish. And he's got 2 of them, right?" So my partner goes, "Fuck this. I can't take it." So we slam on the brakes, and we're like, "I'll shoot your dog." And he's like, "No. They're old. Don't worry." Still didn't trust this fucking guy as far as I could throw him. Then we walk him upstairs, and then I got his 90-year-old mother cursing at me as we're trying to like get the dogs inside the apartment. But it just turned into a whole fucking rigmarole. It was supposed to be the easiest arrest in the world. That's another thing for cops listening out there. When someone comes up to you and tells you, "Oh, could you take this? It's an easy arrest." It's not. It's usually a bag of steaming shit that's just going to fucking, it's just going to get all over you.
Oh.
So you mean cops lie to each other? You're kidding.
All the time.
So weird.
I swear, there's a chapter in NYPD Through the Looking Glass that's loaded with practical jokes. Cops are always playing practical jokes on.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like, we had a short guy in down in one precinct, and he used to put his boots on top of his locker to let him air out. So we crazy glued his boots to the top of his locker, and picture a 5'3" guy like on his tippy toes trying to pull his boots off. So he had to get a knife and cut the sole of his boot, and he was cheap. So he kept the boots, but he walked funny. He walked like he had rickets or polio because the soles of his shoes were cut off.
Oh my God.
Then another time I was going out, when I was a detective, I was going out, and you work at a detective squad, you're working with everybody's a trained eye. Like they don't miss nothing. Your hair, your voice is off. It's like playing poker all day. So I had a date after work and I had changed my pants. So one of the detectives noticed it and he soaked my chair with ice water. So I come in, I sit down and I get a wet ass and everybody's laughing and everybody's happy. I said, you got me. I go downstairs, I get changed. Around the corner from our office was a pet store. So I go to the pet store and I buy 100 crickets and I get them in a bag. So I work in auto theft. I can break into cars, right? It's a skill. So I go into hit the parking lot and I find his personal car, the little fuck, and I Slim Jimmed his car. He had like an 87 Oldsmobile or whatever the fuck it was. I Slim Jim it. I cut the bag. Those crickets are disgusting. Like they were jumping all over me and like, woo, get him in the car, shut the door. And then we watched out the window. He gets in the car, gets a half a block out, and he jumps out of the car. And he's jumping up and down, screaming, right? He rolls down all the windows. He goes home. You know, he had to sell that car. Like he would bomb it with roach spray and those foggers, and it would die down for a while. But those things apparently, like they breathe like tribbles in Star Trek. Like they just kept coming back. So to sell the car to somebody.
Oh, I feel bad for the person who bought the car.
I'm sure they're over it.
It's a very different kind of lemon
Oh
for a
my.
car.
Oh my, crickets. All right. I'm not going to tell my daughter that one. She loves practical jokes.
Oh my goodness.
Well, the funny thing is the kid in the pet store wanted to sell me a snake. He goes, yo, get him a cheap snake. I go, I don't want to kill him. Someone sees the snake. I don't want him. Crickets are one thing you'll jump. A snake, I don't want him fucking driving across traffic. You know, like making a header into somebody. Can't have that. That's bad for business.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bad for business.
Oh, well, no wonder I haven't seen any movies like Lethal Weapon that are like that anytime soon. Not since the 90s, right?
No,
we don't have any funny cop movies anymore.
No, you know what? I don't think that goes on anymore. It's a different breed of people too. You got, you know, like a lot of things in a precinct in my time, like you didn't go run into a supervisor and complaining, or, I mean, it had to be really bad. Like things got settled in the parking lot. There'd be fist fights in the parking lot after work, or we get settled with a beer. You know what I mean? It was a different time.
Yeah. Well, society was different too.
Absolutely.
Right. Nowadays you have all of this very super progressive sort of narratives flying around. And I think that's where we go back to what you were talking about before about, you know, being a cop nowadays. And there's so many accusations that get thrown around. There's so much weird sort of narratives that get tossed about. And, you know, they're coming from one horrific case, one horrific story. But how prevalent is a lot of that?
I mean, it seems like the narrative is that cops are dirty, when I'm willing to bet you probably didn't know that many dirty cops back then. Right?
So if there's one thing the NYPD does a really good job about, it's like they tell you the day you're hired, like through the police academy, it's drummed into you about police corruption. They don't want you taking discounted meals. They don't want you taking a free cup of coffee. We're drug screened constantly. When you go into a specialized unit like I was in, they do a credit check, or you get another background check. You know, if you're working on sensitive things, you get another background check. You know what I mean? And some guys don't even make that. So in the police academy, that's all they show you videos of guys that have thrown their careers and lives away. They have special prosecutors that are tasked to prosecute police corruption come in and give seminars about, you know, you could go to jail. And I mean, it's not like you just, you know, something happens like, well, I didn't know. I mean, they make no bones about that. You know, it's drummed into you. But yeah, no, guys go bad. And, you know, I'm kind of on the fence about it, but like, there's two different types of guys that I saw that go bad. Some were just bad people with a high IQ that were able to get through the psychologicals and were able to mask it. And they were waiting for the right opportunity or the right partner and trying to pull things off. That happened. And then there were guys, and I don't agree with this at all, I'm not making excuses for them. They lost their way. Bad divorce, got addicted to drugs, financial problems. And then, you know, they got involved in something and then they just couldn't get out of it. I saw that too. I mean, I worked with a guy very early on, nice guy, kind of quiet, always had money problems. Like He was married to one woman. He had a couple of girlfriends. He got another woman pregnant. He had her in an apartment. And I remember, like, I wasn't even off probation. I think I had like a year and a half in, and I'll never forget this. Like, I didn't even know him that well. And he says, "Can you lend me $5,000?" Now, $5,000 is a lot of money now. To lend somebody $5,000 in 1988, you know,
shit.
what is that in today's dollars? And I said, no. I said, and I go, "What do you need the money for?" He goes, "I'm thinking about getting a Corvette." And I'm like, "Corvette? You got a baby on the way." You know what I mean? Like, and you're still married. You know, I was like, I can't.
Mhm.
So what winds up happening with him is he goes to another precinct and he's working with a childhood friend of his. And they're making a ton of gun arrests. And what nobody knew was he had a cousin that was a drug dealer. And he had fallen into financial hock so much that he started moving drugs for his cousin, like, you know, probably picking up coke out in Queens from like a Colombian cartel and bringing it to a stash house. I really don't know the exact, but what I do know is he got grabbed by the DEA. Wasn't our job. It was the DEA got him. And when they caught him, they caught him with a kilo or two and a stolen gun. Now, the only reason he's carrying a stolen gun is if he has to use it, he's going to throw it. You know what I mean? Like, he, you know, so he's bad. He's really gone bad. So they catch him and he says, "You got me, but I can give up all this police corruption." And our internal affairs said, "Okay, what do you got?" "Well, I can't really give it to you now." So anyway, what they did was they came up with a story. Nobody knew he was arrested. And what they did was they came up with a story over the weekend that he was doing something. He broke his arm. So when he returns to work, he's in a cast. And in the cast, they have a hidden microphone. So for 6 months, he's sitting in a precinct and he's getting guys in trouble, but it wasn't anything criminal. It was administrative stuff. It was nothing. Nobody got arrested or went to jail for any of the things he was giving up, but he got a bunch of guys in trouble and embarrassed. You know what I mean? And he wound up going to jail anyway.
Wow.
For a short period of time.
Wow. But
So
nothing. But nothing like what people imagine, because right now the narrative is that all cops are bad.
Or they're all bad, or they're all racist, or they're all whatever.
They're all something.
You're making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. You've got problems like everybody else. You don't control anybody's life but your own. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's a bullshit narrative. The people that have the power, a lot of these politicians and stuff that rile everybody up, they're the ones pushing this narrative. I mean, you know, this isn't 1950 something in the deep South where the sheriff doesn't like somebody and leaves them shot in a ditch at the end of town. I mean, there's too many cameras for that shit. You know what I mean? It's
especially today.
Oh God, you get into a shooting in the NYPD, it's not like TV. Let's just say, for argument's sake, I mean, I'll give you bare bones of it. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you're doing a 7 to 3. So you're coming in at 7 in the morning, you're going home 3 at night. And let's say, for argument's sake, at 9:30 in the morning, somebody pulls a gun on you and you kill them or you shoot them. Okay. Sergeant's going to, you know, the sergeant starts making phone calls. You go to the hospital. You're going to have to talk to the sergeant. You're going to have to talk to a lieutenant. You're going to have to talk to a captain. You're going to have to talk to the internal affairs division. You're going to have to talk to a district attorney with the stenographer that day. So if you got into a shooting in NYPD at 9 o'clock in the morning, you'll be there for at least 14, 15 hours. Like no stone is left unturned. It's not like you see on TV, we'll go home and we'll talk about that in the morning.
Right.
No way. And they have a thing called GO15, which means you have to talk without the lawyer. So, I mean, the narrative of, you know, cops are going around, a shooting is scrutinized. I mean, I'm lucky. I never had to shoot somebody, but I mean, a lot of my friends have been shot or killed somebody. And I mean, you go through hell. I mean, it's not just like, take a couple of days off and come back when you want to talk about this. It doesn't work that way. They want to get to the bottom. And this was like this 30 years ago. They want to get to the bottom of, they want no stone left unturned.
That's good, I guess. Yeah.
It's a little stressful to say the least. Right. You know, that guy that I was telling you about, in the magician story, he killed a couple of people, and I mean, good shootings, but I mean, what they put him through, he killed a guy off duty. He's coming home from work, and these guys robbed a check cashing place, and he was driving home, and he saw the caravan of police cars racing past him, and he followed it, and turned out there was this massive gun battle. He pulled up with his car, and he got out. He actually flanked you had the bad guys this way, the good guys this way, and they're shooting at each other. He came down like the grassy knoll, and he just started shooting with his little 5-shot. And he took the top of he hit the guy in the armpit first, and then he took the top of the guy's head off. And why'd you have to get involved in this? And blah blah blah. Blah. He's like, I'm off duty. Like he saved lives, and they broke his balls about it.
Wow.
Jesus. Yeah, because I think it goes back to what you were saying before too. A lot of the bigger issue problem is the way you were saying, how'd you put it? They're stacking people in like pancakes in some of these cities, and just
God, like in New York, like just the Bronx and Brooklyn and parts of Harlem, you have these housing projects, right? There's like 30, 40 buildings, and they're 18 stories high. You just stack people in there. We used to call it airmail. So you get called down to a courtyard, and you're surrounded by these 16-story buildings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drug sales, dispute. You've got about 2 or 3 minutes to make a decision. Is someone going to jail? Is this bullshit? Are we leaving? Do we call reinforcements? Because what's going to happen is people are going to start going into those buildings, and then you start catching airmail. Phone books, batteries, whatever you could think of gets thrown out a window at you, and you don't know where it's coming from because you got all these buildings that are 16 stories high. So you start we call it airmail. You start getting pelted with airmail. You got to make a decision quick.
And then you got to get the hell out of there.
Yes.
Right. And then so because there's no real sort of police presence, then all the crime, they get away with it as much as they want to. So it becomes a whole.
Right. And then we're a pain in the ass when we show up.
Right. Because they've got the whole place locked down.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's a no-win situation. And that's designing the whole community. Like, this is designed wrong.
That's 100% correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So like blaming the police for somebody else's design problem is kind of stupid.
Well, yeah, and that's I mean, a lot of those buildings were part of Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society, which is basically funded a lot of that nonsense.
Yeah, and look at how that turned out. Well, I mean, and I guess on one side of it, you can say they didn't totally know what to do with that many people at that time. It was like
Well, I think the biggest problem is throwing money at stuff instead of like what you said, like instead of coming up with a plan, just throwing money at something never seems to work.
No, any problem that you solve, like we're both in entrepreneur space, you can't just throw money at problems. Money solves some problems, sure.
But you'll burn through it.
You'll burn through it way too fast. Yeah, we call it burning through your runway. It's like you have so much money, you have like
I like that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, that's we look at it as we've got 3 months, we've got 2 months, now we have 1 month. It's like then you got to get real creative real fast, or you go get a day job and you bump out of the space. But you can't just throw money at problems, and this is where the difference, I think, between a lot of people who survive through entrepreneurship have that kind of mentality, and it's weird to see them get almost demonized a lot today too, to some extent, like where they should be the ones that are kind of doing these sort of planning problems because they're really good at it, right? How to use money effectively to get people the most value.
Yeah, no, you're right. But then what it comes is, then they kind of lose their heart.
They can, yeah. I think if you get too caught up in it, if you get too away from people, for sure.
Yeah.
It sort of be a nice combo. I mean, to bring that kind of personality into something like.
Well, someone's going to have to be a hell of a lot smarter than me to figure it out. Because in my 20 years, I didn't really have any solutions. I'm just kind of commenting on it.
Wow.
What else do you guys want to hear? You want to hear about Mike Tyson's motorcycle, or we had an informant. We called him the weatherman. He would give up. We had this guy who was in with a bunch of car thieves, guys doing home invasion. He just used to give up so much stuff. That's in my book, Grand Theft Auto. So he called my partner up one day and he goes, he was with this other guy, Horatio. He says, we were going for a ride and we saw Mike Tyson on the West Side Highway. He goes, so Horatio Carty, he goes, followed him down to the Javits Center. He goes, we watched Mike Tyson walk into the Javits Center. He goes, Horatio jumped on Mike Tyson's $30,000 Ducati Italian motorcycle, broke the ignition. He goes, he took the bike. I go, well, where is it? He goes, it's in Horatio's apartment. And I know you're listening, like, how would someone put it in an apartment? Just Google Washington Heights. So Horatio drove this motorcycle into his first floor apartment. So I said, all right, give us the apartment. We're going to get a warrant. We're going to get Mike Tyson's motorcycle. So the informant goes, well, hold off on that. He's got like 3 stolen motorcycles in there. He's going to take them apart, bubble wrap, and put them in crates. And they're going to ship it to the Dominican Republic. He said, all right, well, you can get us the container number. He goes, yeah. He goes, you might get 5-10 bikes as opposed to just knocking down his door and getting 3. I said, all right. A couple of weeks later on a Sunday, my partner calls me up. He goes, you want to make overtime? I go, what's up? He goes, you know those crates? I said, yeah. He goes, they're getting shipped. I go, well, we can do that tomorrow. He goes, no, they're not going by sea. He goes, they're going by air. They're going out of Kennedy Airport. They're going to get, on a cargo plane out to the Dominican Republic. So we were waiting at the cargo place and they show up in a stolen van with all these crated motorcycles and, got Mike Tyson's motorcycle back. I didn't meet Mike Tyson. My partner did. He got photos with him. He said Tyson was a really nice guy and he was pissed off that this guy took his bike.
I bet.
Right.
He's lucky he wasn't anywhere near Tyson when he got his bike back.
Yeah.
He might have lost an ear.
He's a beast. Great fighter.
He has a penchant for ears.
Ears, yeah. He might have two teeth and a jaw too. Piece of a jaw.
Poor Holyfield. Anyway, you know what, Vic, it has been a pleasure having you on today. We really have loved it, and would love to have you back on again.
Anytime. I'm glad I could give you some content. I'll tell you the cockfighting story next.
Did you say cop or cockfighting?
Cockfighting.
I still didn't get it.
I got a good cockfighting story, but I'll say that for next time.
If you want to tell us now, we have a few more minutes.
All right, last one. Okay. So I was a detective in the auto crime division, and my lieutenant was getting on my ass because I had walked into a gambling den at one time, made a gambling arrest. He got pissed off. He goes, stick to auto crime. I walked in, I grabbed a guy with a gun. He goes, just stick to auto crime. So he read me the riot act. I said, fine. So my sergeant comes up to me about a week later, and those Vespa motorcycles were getting stolen in Manhattan. And he goes, listen, he goes, I know you think this is beneath you. You're a car guy. He goes, could you just find out who's stealing these Vespas? And I'm like, this is a pain in the ass because I know it's going to be kids. So I start running these Vespas. I see one's recovered in the South Bronx. So I'm like, it's probably a group of kids. They're driving up to the Upper East Side of Manhattan. They're stealing these Vespas. If I go back to this neighborhood, I'm going to see kids riding around on Vespas. So I go to the neighborhood, no Vespas, but it's all buildings. So I said, okay. My partner and I start going into these basements of these buildings. We're knocking on the superintendent's door. You mind if we look in your common area, where they keep snow blowers and motorcycles and bicycles? You could open that area up. We could just see if these Vespas are down here. Yeah, no problem. So building to building, the supers can't wait to show us their kingdom underneath there, right? No Vespas. The last building we go to, I can smell weed and I hear giggling. So I'm banging on the door. The super comes out. He's about 2 feet tall with a head of black hair, looked like Tattoo from Fantasy Island. He's shitting bricks. And I go, Vespas, could you show us the common area? And he's a nervous wreck. He goes, okay, see. And we're walking and he's dropping the keys. And I'm like, he's awful fucking nervous, man. Opens up takes the padlock off this door and pulls open like these conference room doors, puts on the lights. And there's got to be 50 fucking, I didn't grow up on a farm, but roosters and chickens running around the floor. And then stacked on pods was like another 50. I guess those were the aggressive cocks. They're stacked on pods, right? And he's looking at me and I'm looking at him like, I know this is a cockfighting ring or gladiator school or cockfighting lounge. Or I don't know exactly.
Aggressive cocks. There's a mouthful.
Yeah. So I got my lieutenant's voice in the back of my ear, stick to auto crime, right? Because normally I just fucking throw cuffs on him and start making phone calls. So I go, Vespas? No Vespas. Like, okay, lock it up. It's okay. I said, yeah. See? I go, yeah, see, no problem. We leave. I get on my cell phone and I call my sergeant. I go, listen to me. I says, I know his edict, I says, we could make a shitload of money with the fucking ASPCA and all this shit. And he goes, the lieutenant's gone for the day. He goes, if you fucking lock this guy up and get involved with this, he's going to cut your balls off. He goes, give it to the ASPCA. I go, are you sure? He goes, yeah. Do you remember like in like late 90s, early 2000s, there was a show called Animal Precinct on Animal Planet? It was like the ASPCA police that they would go around with them and they would save dogs and shit.
Okay.
Something, yeah, rings a bell.
Well, I call the ASPCA and I get one of the guys on television, right? And I start busting his balls and he's like, what do you want? And I tell him, he goes, oh shit. He goes, this could be huge for us. He goes, you don't mind giving it up? I said, no. I says, my job doesn't want it. He goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, I'll call you. He goes, if we get a search warrant, he goes, I'll call you as a courtesy. You can go on the search warrant, maybe make some overtime. I go, okay, that works. A month goes by, I don't hear from this guy. And then I was helping my dad put a fence in the backyard and he calls and he goes, listen, we're going to hit that place. This is going to be huge. He goes, do you want to go? I says, I can't. I says, I took a couple of days off to help my dad. I said, but go, have at it. I appreciate, you reaching out. The next day, it's all over the newspaper in New York. Largest cockfighting ring busted in the Bronx, right? Blah, 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 blah. My sergeant is a moron. He goes and tells the lieutenant, who was a publicity whore, right? And he's like, yeah, that's the place Ferrari was talking about. He goes, what? Why didn't I know about this? He goes, get him in here, right? So the next day, I get called on the carpet, and my lieutenant is like, do you realize we could have gotten a splash with this? I go, you told me to stick to auto crime. So that's a chapter in my book. It's not auto crime because ultimately it blew up in his face because he wanted to piggyback on it. And he was always chasing a press conference and he didn't get one as a result of him busting my balls, telling me to stay away from things. And I wound up giving a cockfighting ring to the ASPCA. They were happy.
I bet. Good publicity for them. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's a lot more to these stories. I'm just trying to give you bare bones that you get the point,
No, it's great. So where do people get your books? Amazon?
Yeah,
You have a
all
website for it?
all my NYPD books, if you just go into Amazon and punch in, Vic Ferrari, like the car, all my paperbacks, they're all paperback. They're $10. I try to keep the price point low. $2.99 ebook download. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can just burn through a book in 5 minutes.
Sounds like some really good reading.
Yeah, they're all between 225 and 240 pages.
Cool.
If I could say the names of the books, it's NYPD, Law and Disorder, Grand Theft Auto, the NYPD's Auto Crime Division, the NYPD's Flying Circus, Cops, Crime, and Chaos, and NYPD Through the Looking Glass, Stories from Inside America's Largest Police Department.
Wow.
Awesome.
So is there another book beyond this? I mean, it sounds like you've got
I also wrote a book called Dickheads and Debauchery and Other Ingenious Ways to Die. That's like the ridiculous things people do to shorten their lives, like going to Spain and running with bulls or eating bitch beaters at Disney World and motorized scooters, yelling at your healthy. So there's a lot of story to that. And then I'm just finishing a book called Confessions of a Catholic High School Graduate, which starts off with me getting chased out of a confessional. That'll be out in a couple of weeks.
So it sounds like you're a writer and you were just trapped in a cop's body for a couple of decades.
No, I was bored. Like I had no interest in writing. I was nervous about writing these police books because I really was afraid of the response I would get from my peers. Like, this fucking guy's writing a tell-all book. But I was able to do it in a way. I changed the dates, locations. And again, I try not to focus on one person for too many stories or link them to two. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I'm not sour grapes. It's like, I want to have fun and make a little money. I don't want to ruin someone's life. Right.
Well, Vic, it has been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll look forward to a second round.
Anytime, just reach out.
We will, for sure.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.